Lena arrived early in the morning, just like every day. She pushed the door open quietly, because the house was still dark and silent. The air inside was warm, almost too warm for a human, but she had gotten used to it over time. She worked as a maid in this alien residence, and the strange heat was only one of many unusual things she had learned to accept. She walked across the soft floor and carried her small cleaning basket in her hands. Her steps were slow and light. She did not want to disturb anyone. The owners of the house were not home, and Lena was told she would be alone for a few hours. At least, that was what she believed. When she reached the central room, she noticed something different. A soft humming sound, like a tiny breath mixed with gentle flame, drifted through the air. She paused and looked around. The room was filled with faint red light, coming from warm crystal lamps in the walls. She stepped closer to the sound, her eyes searching the shadows. There, in the corner, sat a nest-shaped cradle she had never seen before. It looked like a bowl made of smooth stones. In the middle of it, wrapped in a blanket with gold threads, was a small creature. Lena moved closer and saw scales, tiny, shining scales, glowing faintly like sparks. It was a baby dragon. Lena froze. She had heard stories about dragons living in the upper cities of this world, but she had never seen one up close. This one was tiny, maybe the size of a cat. Its wings were folded neatly against its body, and its little chest rose and fell slowly. Every time it breathed out, a warm puff of smoke escaped its nose. She felt her heart beating faster. She was a maid, not someone trained to care for rare dragon creatures. But the baby looked peaceful, almost gentle. She leaned forward slightly and whispered, "Hello, little one." The baby dragon twitched its ear-like horns but did not wake. Lena looked around the room again, wondering why no one had told her about this. Then she spotted a message cube glowing on the table. She tapped it, and a calm voice spoke. "You'll find a young dragon in the nest. Please watch the child until the guardian returns. Do not worry. The baby sleeps most of the time." Lena stared at the cube. That was all. No instructions? No warnings? Just watch the dragon? She let out a slow breath and set her cleaning basket aside. "I guess it's just you and me," she whispered. Her hands were shaking a little as she approached the cradle again. She didn't know if she should touch the blanket or not. But the baby dragon shifted slightly, curling closer to the warmth of the blanket, and let out a soft, almost sad sound. It reminded her of a lonely child. That sound pushed away her fear. She knelt beside the cradle and gently adjusted the blanket, making sure the baby was covered. The moment the cloth touched the dragon's scales, its breathing steadied, as if it felt safer now. Lena smiled a little. "You're just a baby," she said softly. "Nothing scary about that." Hours passed slowly. Lena worked around the room, but kept glancing toward the cradle. Even when she dusted shelves or wiped warm furniture, she stayed close. She hummed quietly, a habit she had when working alone. To her surprise, the baby dragon's breathing matched the rhythm of her soft humming, like it was listening in its sleep. She felt strangely peaceful, but something was wrong outside. At first, she only noticed the wind picking up. The soft hum of the house walls shifted slightly. Then a faint vibration moved through the floor, like the ground itself was nervous. Lena stood still listening. She had learned that alien houses often reacted to danger. This one felt like it was warning her. She walked to the window and peeked outside. The sky looked normal. Pale silver clouds drifting, sunlight shining softly. But far off, near the horizon, something dark moved quickly. She frowned, trying to understand what it was. Then she heard a faint clicking sound near the door. Her heart jumped. She turned quickly and looked toward the baby dragon. It was still sleeping, but its warm glow flickered as if it sensed danger too. Lena whispered, "It's okay. I'm right here." She moved closer to the cradle again, placing herself between the dragon and the sound. Her hands trembled, but she refused to step away. She didn't know what was outside, and she didn't know if it was safe. But she knew one thing clearly. The baby dragon could not protect itself. The clicking sound faded, replaced by silence. She stood still for a long moment, breathing slowly. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just the house adjusting. She hoped so, because she had no idea what she would do if something tried to enter. Minutes passed. The baby dragon sighed softly in its sleep. The danger outside seemed to settle for the moment. Lena took a slow breath and tried to calm herself. She returned to her chair near the cradle, watching over the child like she had been asked. Still, she felt uneasy. Something in the air was different. Something in the house whispered that this baby was important, and important things often came with danger. Lena looked at the dragon, its tiny scales shining gently, and she whispered, "Don't worry. I'll keep you safe until your guardian comes back." She didn't know it yet, but someone was already watching her choices very closely. Someone who would soon enter the house. Someone who would change her life forever. The house stayed quiet, but the air felt heavy, like the walls were holding their breath. Lena sat beside the cradle, watching the baby dragon sleep peacefully. Its small chest rose and fell, glowing warm red with every breath. She kept her hands close, ready to pull the blanket back up if it slipped again. But her mind stayed on the strange sound from earlier. She kept listening to the door, wondering if something was outside. Every small creak in the house made her sit a little straighter. Then, without warning, the warm lamps on the walls dimmed. A soft vibration moved across the floor, stronger than before. The house was reacting again, but not with fear, this time with recognition. Someone important was approaching. Lena stood up quickly. Her heart beat fast, and she looked around for a place to hide, but there was nowhere she could go without leaving the baby dragon alone. She took a deep breath and stayed beside the cradle. A shadow stopped outside the front door. The air changed like a sudden shift in pressure. A heavy click echoed through the room as the door unlocked itself in response to a command she didn't hear. The door slid open. A tall figure stepped inside. Lena froze. The newcomer was not human. Their armor looked like black metal mixed with fire, and their eyes glowed gold beneath a helmet shaped like horns. A long cloak hung behind them, moving like smoke. The figure carried a staff that pulsed with red light, and every step they took made the warm floor ripple under their feet. This had to be the guardian the message cube spoke about. But Lena had not expected a warrior. The figure stopped in the middle of the room and slowly removed their helmet. Underneath was a face with sharp lines, strong features, and scales along the jaw, a dragon humanoid. Their eyes burned like embers. Their gaze went straight to the cradle. Then the guardian finally looked at Lena. "Human," the guardian said, their voice deep and calm. "Who told you to stay with the child?" Lena swallowed hard. "The message cube told me to watch the baby until you returned." The guardian studied her carefully, eyes sharp but not unkind. "You did not touch the child?" "I only fixed a blanket," Lena said quietly. It looked cold. The guardian stepped closer and examined the sleeping dragon baby. Their eyes softened for a moment. They placed a gentle hand above the cradle, checking the child's warmth. When they pulled their hand back, they looked at Lena again. "You did well." Lena let out a breath she had been holding, but the fear did not leave her completely. The guardian's presence filled the room like a storm that was trying very hard not to break. The guardian then walked around the room, checking every window, every wall panel. Their movements were quick and sharp. It looked like they expected danger. Finally, Lena asked, "Is something wrong outside?" The guardian stopped and looked at her. There were trackers near the house. Lena felt her stomach drop. "Trackers? For the baby?" "For all of us," the guardian replied. "There are those who want dragon children for experiments. There are those who want humans for trade. And there are those who want to destroy anyone who protects peace." Lena took a slow breath. "I heard a clicking sound earlier. Near the door." The guardian's eyes narrowed. "Show me." Lena led them to the spot. The guardian knelt and touched the floor. A faint mark, a tiny scratch, reflected the warm light. The guardian stood up sharply. "They sent a scout." Lena's hands trembled a little. "Will they come again?" "Yes," the guardian said. "They will return in greater numbers." They walked back to the cradle and lifted the baby dragon gently into their arms. The child stayed asleep, curling into the guardian's chest like it already knew who it belonged to. The guardian looked at Lena again, their expression unreadable. "You protected the child," they said. "You stayed, even when you sensed danger." "Why?" Lena blinked at the question. Because the baby couldn't protect itself," she said softly. "And because I was trusted to watch it." The guardian stared at her for a long moment. Their eyes were intense, like they were searching through her thoughts. "Most humans would have run," they said. "I thought about it," Lena admitted, "but I didn't." The guardian slowly nodded. "Courage does not mean fearlessness. It means choosing to stay despite fear." Lena felt heat rise in her face, not from the warm air, but from their words. She looked down, unsure what to say. Then the guardian spoke again. "I am Seraph, elite guardian of the Dragon Enclave." Lena looked up. The name sounded heavy, like a title that carried great responsibility. I'm Lena, just a maid." Seraph shook their head. "There is no just in your actions today." Lena's eyes widened slightly. Seraph reached into a small pouch and pulled out a crystal badge shaped like a flame. They placed it on the table. "This is a mark of temporary trust. It allows you to stay in this home without being questioned by the house or its systems." Lena stared at it. She had never been trusted with something so important. Sarah continued, "I may need your help again." Lena's heart beat faster. She wasn't sure she was ready for whatever danger was coming, but something inside her felt stronger now, like the moment she chose not to run had changed her fate. Before Seraph could speak again, the baby dragon opened its eyes for the first time. Golden, warm, and innocent. The baby looked at Lena, and it smiled. Seraph watched silently. A guardian's expression was hard to read, but for a moment there was a spark of surprise, perhaps even approval. And without knowing it, Lena's light had just stepped into a world far bigger than she had ever imagined. The morning light spread softly across the house, painting the warm stone walls with golden color. Lena moved quietly, carrying a small tray of food. She tried not to wake the baby dragon, but the child was already sitting in the cradle, blinking sleepily with glowing eyes. Seraph, the guardian, stood beside the cradle with arms crossed. Their armor was off, but even without it, they looked like a statue carved from fire and steel. They watched the baby dragon carefully, as if every tiny movement mattered. Lena placed the tray on the table. "Good morning," she said softly. Seraph nodded. The child woke early. It sensed something. Lena felt a small shiver. Something outside? Perhaps. Or something inside. Seraph's eyes moved toward the baby. The dragon child suddenly reached out toward Lena, tiny claws curling excitedly. Its eyes brightened and its small wings fluttered behind it. The child wanted to be held. Lena hesitated, unsure. "Can I?" Sarah studied her expression, then slowly nodded. "Be gentle. Its scales are still soft." Lena lifted the baby dragon carefully. It was warm, warmer than any human baby, but not uncomfortable. The child curled into her arms, humming softly with a pleasant rumbling sound. Sarah watched closely. "It trusts you more than I expected." "I don't know why," Lena said with a shy smile. "I'm nothing special." Sarah tilted their head. "It is not common for a dragon child to bond with a human so quickly. There is a reason." Lena looked down at the child. "A reason? Like what?" Sarah didn't answer. Instead, they turned away, their expression clouded with thought. They moved to the house controls and checked the security panel. The screen flickered with red symbols Lena did not understand. "Seraph, did you find something?" she asked carefully. The guardian didn't immediately respond. Then their voice came low and serious. "Trackers. More of them." Lena felt her breath catch. "From last night?" "From before last night." Sarah touched one of the glowing marks on the screen. Someone knew about this house. Someone knew about the child. Lena held the baby closer, without meaning to. The child snuggled into her chest, making soft chirping noises. Sarah turned back to them. "There are things you do not know, Lena. Things about the child, things about what it can do." Lena swallowed. "Then tell me." Sarah hesitated. Their eyes moved from the child in Lena's arms to the doors, the windows, the shadows around the room. Finally, they spoke. "This baby is not just any dragon. It is a Lumina-born. Lena blinked. Lumina-born? What does that mean? Sarah stepped closer. Their voice was calm but full of weight. It is a rare kind of dragon child whose soul burns brighter than others. They are born only once in generations. Their breath can heal. Their light can guide armies. Their cries can move storms. Lena stared at the tiny dragon, shocked. But it's so small. Sarah nodded. Even the smallest star is powerful, Lena. The child looked up at her and smiled, a warm, innocent smile. It didn't look like a great power. It just looked happy. Sarah continued, if the wrong people find the child, they will use it, bend it, break it. Lena felt her heart drop. Is that why the trackers came? Yes, Sarah said. The people who want this child do not care for peace. They want power. Lena looked down at the dragon baby again. Her arms tightened protectively. Without thinking, she whispered, I won't let anything happen to you. Sarah heard her. For the first time, their expressions softened. You speak as though you are part of this. Lena looked up. How can I not be? I was here when the child needed someone. Sarah studied her carefully again. You are brave, Lena. But bravery will not be enough. Lena nodded slowly. Then teach me what I need to know. Saratha's eyes widened slightly at her request. You wish to learn? I don't want to be useless if danger comes again. Lena said plainly, the baby needs someone here, and you can't watch everything alone. A long silence passed between them. Finally, Sarah placed her hand gently on the baby's head. Then I will teach you. Lena felt a small spark of pride. She didn't know what she was agreeing to, but she knew she meant every word. Suddenly, the baby dragon lifted its head and looked toward the window. It made a soft growl. What is it? Lena whispered. Sarah stepped toward the window and opened the security view. Outside, in the distance, the sky shimmered strangely. A ripple of energy spread across the horizon, silent but dangerous looking. That is not a storm, Sarah said quietly. Someone is searching. Searching for us? Lena asked. For the child, Sarah replied. We must prepare. Lena held the baby dragon close. The child pressed its forehead against her neck, seeking comfort. Sarah turned to her again. There is something more you must know. Lena waited. The Lumina-born do not bond with many, Sarah said. But when they bond, it is for life. Lena's heartbeat quickened. Sarah stepped closer, lowering their voice. The child has chosen you, Lena. That bond cannot be undone. Lena looked down at the baby dragon, whose small claws were gripping her shirt gently. But why me? She whispered. Sarah answered simply. The child saw kindness in you before you saw it in yourself. Lena felt a sudden warmth in her chest, not from the dragon's heat, but from something deeper. Sarah straightened. From this moment, you are part of the child protection. Lena nodded, even though her hands trembled. Outside, the strange sky shimmer grew stronger. Inside, the baby dragon hummed softly, glowing brighter. And Lena understood that nothing about her life would ever be simple again. The strange shimmer in the sky grew brighter as the day passed. Lena stood at the window with the baby dragon in her arms, watching the horizon with worry. The child's scales were glowing softly, as if reacting to something she could not see. Sarah checked the security screens again and again, their movements tense and sharp. Something is pushing through the border, Sarah said quietly. Lena looked at them. The same people who want the baby? Most likely. Saratha's voice was steady, but their eyes carried a shadow. But this time they are not hiding. They are coming openly. The baby dragon let out a small cry, a trembling sound filled with fear and warning. Its small wings folded tight against its body. Lena held it closer, whispering soft words to calm it. She did not know if the dragon understood her words, but understood her tone. The baby pressed its forehead against her chest, and the glow dimmed a little. Sarah turned away from the screen and paced toward the door. We need to prepare the safe room. Lena frowned. Will it be enough? It will slow them, Sarah said. For a time. They open a hidden panel by the wall and check the old emergency locks. But they are not ordinary hunters. They are stormbreakers. They cut through barriers like water. Lena's breath caught. And if they get inside? Sereth looked at her with quiet honesty. Then we fight. Lena swallowed. Her heart thudded hard in her chest. She looked down at the baby dragon again. I promised I would protect you, she whispered. She knew she was only a human maid, but she meant every word. Sarah seemed to hear her. You have more courage than many warriors, they said. Do not doubt that. A deep rumble echoed through the house. The walls shook slightly. Lena stiffened. What was that? They have arrived, Sarah said. They are testing the shield. Another rumble, this time stronger. The baby dragon cried out, scales flickering with frightened light. Lena held it tight, feeling the trembling in its small body. Sarah stepped outside the room and grabbed their armor from the wall. The metal plates shimmered with an inner glow. They slipped into it quickly, movements fast and practiced. Stay close to me, they told Lena. Do not leave my side unless I say. Lena nodded even though her hands trembled. The house lights flickered, then steadied. A loud buzzing sound filled the air, like electricity stretching too thin. Sareth rushed to the front door panel and checked the shield level. It's dropping too fast, they muttered. Lena stepped closer. Can we do anything? Hold the child, Sarah said. Do not let go. The buzzing grew louder, then suddenly, boom! A shockwave hit the house. Lena stumbled, almost falling, but she kept the baby safe in her arms. Sarah braced against the wall, armor glowing from the impact. They are using breach hammers, Sarah said. They want to break in now. Lena felt panic rise in her throat. How many are out there? Enough to destroy a small village, Sareth answered. But we only need to outlast them for minutes. Help is on the way. Another loud crack split the air. This one was close, too close. A window shattered in the back room. Shards of glass scattered across the floor. They found a weak point. Sareth shouted. Lena backed away quickly, clutching the baby. Sareth ran toward the broken window, their armor lighting up as they activated a shield field. Stay behind me, they called. Lena stood in the hallway, heart racing. The baby dragon's glow flickered in fast, frightened pulses. She rocked it gently, whispering, It's okay, little one. We're here. We're here. A figure appeared in the broken window. Dark armor, sharp edges, glowing mask. It stepped inside with slow, controlled movements. Another figure followed behind it. Lena gasped, Sareth. Sareth struck first. Their blade flashed with bright red light as they swung. The attackers moved fast, blocking, countering, striking back. The room filled with sparks and metal scrapes. Sareth pushed the first intruder back with a powerful kick, but the second advanced, raising a long weapon toward Lena. Lena froze. The baby dragon burst into bright light in her arms. A wave of warm energy flowed out from the child, bright, soft, and powerful. The attacker stopped mid-step, stunned by the sudden glow. The light didn't harm them, but it blinded and confused them. Sareth seized a moment. They leaped forward, striking the intruder's weapon out of their hands and knocking them against the wall. The attacker scrambled to recover, but Sareth moved like a storm, forcing them toward the window. Out! Sareth shouted at them. Leave this house. One attacker staggered back through the window. The second followed after a strong push from Sareth's shield field. But outside, more shadows were gathering. Sareth quickly shut the emergency barrier over the broken window. We have a second before they try again. Lena held the glowing baby tightly. The child looked exhausted now, its light dimming. The light, it came from the baby. Sareth nodded. Yes, the Lumina-born can protect, even without training. Another rumble shook the house. Lena looked at Sareth. What do we do now? Sarah took a deep breath and touched the baby's head gently. We make our stand here. Together. The house lights flickered again. The shield buzzed weakly. Outside, heavy steps approached from all directions. Trouble had broken through, and Lena knew the real fight was just beginning. The night was cold and quiet, yet everything felt heavy around Ethan's farm. Smoke rose from the broken machines the hunters had destroyed, and the ground still shook from the battle. The baby dragon slept inside the barn, curled under blankets, unaware of the danger outside. Ethan stood near the door with the guardian dragon beside him. The guardian watched the sky, his wings tight and his golden eyes full of worry. He knew the hunters would not give up. They had lost, but they would return. Ethan tried to stay brave, but fear sat in his chest. He was only a farmer. He never asked for this fight. He only wanted to protect a child who had no one. But now, because of that choice, many lives were tied to his. The guardian looked down at him and said in a soft voice that still shook the air, "They will come again, and next time they will bring more fighters." Ethan nodded. "I won't leave her," he said quietly. "She needs someone. I won't let them take her." The guardian studied him for a long moment. He saw no magic in Ethan, no strength, no power. But he saw a different kind of courage. He saw a man who stood still even when the world tried to crush him. Dragons respected such bravery. "You are strange, human," the guardian said softly. "You are fragile, yet your heart does not break." Before Ethan could answer, the baby dragon cried from inside the barn. She woke up, frightened by the cold wind. Ethan rushed inside. She reached her small arms out to him, tears in her eyes. "Don't go," she whispered. He sat down beside her and wrapped the blanket around her. "I'm right here," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." The guardian stood at the doorway and watched. For the first time in years, he felt something warm grow inside him. It was a feeling he thought he had lost long ago. Hope. He stepped closer and said, "There's something you must know." Ethan looked up. The guardian's voice became deeper. "The hunters do not chase her because she is rare. They chase her because she carries ancient power, power that can change everything." Ethan's heart dropped. "Power? She's just a baby." "Yes," the guardian said, "but she is the last of her line. Her ancestors were dragons who could shape storms, heal lands, and even change fate itself. If the hunters take her, they will use her to control kingdoms." The baby dragon hugged Ethan's arm tightly, as if she understood every word. Her small wings trembled. Ethan held her closer. "Then all the more reason I won't let them take her." The guardian looked at him with new eyes. "You speak as if you are a parent." Ethan didn't answer. He didn't need to. The guardian already knew. A sudden sound came from the woods. Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps moved closer. The guardian turned sharply, wings rising. "They are here." Ethan stood up quickly. His hands shook, but he kept the baby dragon behind him. The guardian stepped outside, his body growing larger, scales shining like burning metal. The ground hummed beneath him. Shapes moved in the dark. At least 10 hunters stepped out, their armor glowing with red lines. They were stronger than the last group. Their leader stepped forward, his voice sharp and cold. "Move aside, guardian. The child belongs to us." "She belongs to no one," the guardian growled. The hunters raised their weapons. Ethan felt panic rise in him. There was no way they could win this time. But then the baby dragon stepped forward. She looked small, weak, but her eyes shone with a faint blue light. The guardian saw it and gasped. "It is starting," he whispered. The air around the baby began to move, soft at first, then stronger. The wind twisted around her tiny body. Her scales glowed like blue fire. Ethan reached out to stop her, but the guardian stopped him. "No, this is her choice." The hunters panicked. "Stop her," their leader shouted. They charged, but before they could reach her, a burst of blue energy exploded outward. It knocked the hunters to the ground. Trees bent. Stones rolled. The air cracked like lightning. The baby dragon fell to her knees, exhausted. Ethan rushed to her and caught her before she hit the ground. "You're okay," he whispered, holding her tightly. The hunters struggled to stand. The guardian stepped forward, blocking them. His voice thundered through the night. "Leave. If you return here again, I will end every one of you." The hunters, frightened and shaken, retreated into the forest. Silence returned, but it felt different now. Heavier, but also bright with something new. Ethan held the baby dragon close. She leaned against him, tired but safe. The guardian looked at them, and a decision formed inside him like a rising sun. He bowed his head. "I will stay," the guardian said slowly. "I will protect this place. I will protect her. And I will protect you." Ethan stared at him, surprised. Why? Why help me?" The guardian looked at the baby dragon, then at Ethan. His voice softened. "Because she chose you, and because you chose her. A child with such power needs more than strength. She needs a home. She needs love. And you," he paused, almost smiling, "you already give her that." Ethan felt a deep warmth in his chest. The guardian spread his wings and stood tall. "From this night on, I am your shield." For the first time, Ethan felt like he wasn't alone. The storm had not ended, but now he had a guardian at his side.